A new season brings renewed hope for college football teams across the country, and that includes the UCF Knights trying to forget last year's 4-8 finish and off to a good start on Saturday evening at Bright House Network Stadium. Wasn't always pretty, but a win is a win, and the Knights get one in their season opener against Samford. 28-24 was the final. Hello once again, UCF fans, and welcome to a new season of UCF Sports Today with George O'Leary. The coach is back. I'm Pat Clarke, and as always, we're delighted that you're here as well. George, congratulations on your victory Saturday night. I know that it wasn't exactly what you wanted, 28-24. That final score might be a little bit misleading if you happen not to see the game, because I know you believe you left a lot of points out there and that the margin of victory probably should have been greater than what it was.
Well, it was, but very happy birthday, Pat. I'm very happy that you reached your birthday and stuff and go from there. But I think the key to this game was that we had opportunities that we squandered on the field, and I think those momentum type situations that you have to take advantage of. I think we had some young players that need to play up. I think they went out with big eyes, and it showed on the field. But I think there's a big improvement from that first to second game, and that's what we got to make sure we get done. You
have been coaching for a long time, of course, and you use phrases like character game and grow-up game, and you would label last night's as one of those, correct?
I said to the team after the game in the team locker room that I thought was a good character game. Is that there's, when you're ahead, come back ahead, a lot of momentum shifts in that game. And I thought they did a great job of staying, doing the things they had to get done under some tough situations. And I was very pleased from that standpoint. Obviously, execution, some penalties, as I look at the tape, need to improve next week, and especially when we start our conference off.
Well, you're the first person to give credit where credit is due, and I know that you believe that Pat Sullivan brought a team here on Saturday night that really laid it all out there, and they're not a bad football team at all, are they?
Well, Pat thinks he has a very good team, and he said that to me pregame, and he has some good skilled kids and a good scheme offensively and defensively, and he was pleased with his preseason, and I thought they went out and played very, very hard and played with good effort and enthusiasm, and that's what I expect our players to do.
All right, 28-24 again was the final. We're going to break down the game when we come back on UCF Sports Today with George O'Leary, so stay right there.
UCF Sports Today with head coach George O'Leary is brought to you by Holler Classic, the official automotive group of the UCF Knights. Today's show is also presented in part by Bright House Networks. See how bright life can be. And Coca-Cola. Welcome to the Coke side of life. ISP Sports is the exclusive worldwide marketer of UCF Athletics. ISP, America's home for college sports.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to UCF Sports Today with George O'Leary, Pat Clarke, along with the coach in the wake of UCF's 28-24 win, season-opening win over Samford on Saturday night. Rob Calabrese, George, was your starting quarterback heading into the game. Seemed a little tight at times, so Brett Hodges comes in before halftime, and he plays for the remainder of the game. Let's go about how this process played out for you. Calabrese was going to be your starting quarterback. He was, but all along you said that Hodges would be playing at some point in the game. Probably didn't have plans to bring him in as early as you did. What is the quarterback situation?
Well, we went in the game thinking that we were going to play both quarterbacks, talking with the offensive coordinator, and no matter how the game was going, I wanted to see both on the field. And I thought the time that we had put Brett Hodges in, it's just that we're a little tight at the position and wanted to see a change there. And then, Brent went in and took advantage of the opportunity. He really did. And but I think both quarterbacks, I said earlier in the preseason, have to play. And I think, we had an opportunity to go, and he had a hot hand. I don't think his stats are reflective, I'm talking about Brett, of what he did. He had some balls that probably should have been caught that were dropped. But I do think he went out and managed the team, and that's what you're looking for. But I don't see a problem. I think it's still Rob Calabrese's football team, all right? And again, both quarterbacks are going to have to play this season for us to be successful.
Now, you say that it's still Rob's team. I know there are fans out there who are going to want to know this. If you say that it's still his team, does that mean that he is your starting quarterback then against Southern Miss this week, or is this going to be a week-to-week competition?
No, I'm not creating a week-to-week competition. I think it's Rob's football team, and I think he deserves the opportunity to come out that second game and get things done the way he has been doing them in practice.
Well, I'll do credit to him as well, because even after he had been pulled from the game, he was standing right there on the sideline. When his teammates would come off the field, he was the first to greet them. I mean, you might have some athletes who would pout in a situation like that. He was quite the opposite, wasn't he?
A great kid, and he's into the game, and him and Brett are very good friends. And you know, I don't see any problem in the situation there at all. And I think I watched that very closely from the sideline, and you're 100% correct. Rob was into the game, up and down, congratulating guys on plays, and that's what I would expect of a leader.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some highlights. And I know you, George, from last December, were waiting for opening night of a new season, and it finally arrived on Saturday evening against Samford in front of about 35,000 fans, a 7:30 kick. And this is some first half action, some nice penetration to tackle the running back by Lawrence Young.
It really was. Had a good game, a good close to the ball.
And here's Jarvis Gathers leading a charge, and this wound up being intentional grounding, so a penalty on Samford right there. And here's Jamar Newsom with a 10-yard reception from Brett Hodges on a third down. It continues late into the second quarter, a drive, and this is a scoring drive that ultimately would tie the game at 7. Kamar Aiken with a 21-yard leaping catch at the 1-yard line.
Great catch, great catch, great throw.
And Brent Harvey with a 1-yard rushing touchdown up the gut. This ties the game at 7 going into halftime, and I know that that was some good positive momentum for your team, George, heading into the locker room, but certainly not what you wanted at that point, a 7-7 game. What did you say to the fellas?
Well, I
room?
thought that score before the half gave us some momentum, and went in and spoke to them about it. Well, we got to start executing as far as that, and the little mistakes that were being made out there was causing field position. And I thought we had great field position the first half. I think the average starting point for us was the 44 first half, and you got to come away with more points than that. And as I stated earlier, I thought we left some points in the first half on the field, and you can't do that. And I think that once you get in position, you got to come away with points. That's what the game's about.
No, I think it was apropos that we showed Jarvis Gathers putting penetration and some pressure on the quarterback. Unfortunately, that wasn't the theme of the evening for your defense, and I know that was a bugaboo for you. You would like to see more penetration deep into the backfield and rushing the quarterback more.
I thought the first game, I think, give that quarterback credit. I think he maneuvered well. He had the ability to get outside. But I thought our defense, would have, from what I've seen of them and what I know about them, we should have had more pressure on that quarterback. And again, I think they did a great job of getting rid of the ball quickly and not having time to get there. But again, we got to look back and see what some things we can improve on from our defensive people are concerned.
You've coached for a long time, and I know that you've had teams that might have been highly favored over an opponent that might be tied or perhaps even down at halftime, and the character of that team might be such that they maybe not gave up, but certainly didn't come out with the force in the second half that your team did last night.
No, we made the adjustments at halftime and spoke about things that we had to get done that we just can't do, as far as situations where when you have the chance to get some things done positively on the field, you have to get it done. But I thought we went out from the halftime and we said we're going to take this kickoff back, and lo and behold, we do.
Okay, that's a good cue right there. So off we go to the second half highlights. UCF fans certainly weren't sitting on their hands at halftime, and boy, they weren't on the opening kickoff of the third period. This is Quincy McDuffie, the true freshman from Edgewater High School. And George, look at the afterburners coming down the near sidelines, 95 yards for a touchdown.
Great return, great way to start that second half, and again, great speed, and going to be a really good football player as he matures.
Something tells me we're going to see that play again later on in the program. That's Kamar Aiken, a reception from Hodges to get the Knights to the 5-yard line. Then Brent Harvey, who had a great night 1-yard touchdown, pounds it up the middle, and UCF is now back to within 2. Samford was leading at the time, and here's the 2-point conversion, the pass to Harvey. Was it tough to make that decision? We're still fairly early in the third period.
No, I 2 points in the second half I usually going to go. First half I don't, but I thought that was a great play by the quarterback, taking his time, poise, and hitting that open receiver.
Rocky Ross, your return teams on both kickoffs and punts did a great job on Saturday night. That's Rocky Ross, a 33-yard punt return, giving the Knights good field position. You had that, as you mentioned earlier, George, most of the evening, and then Jamar Newsom with a 10-yard touchdown reception. That ultimately would be the game winner.
Right. I thought it was a good throw, good catch, and you know, a good way to get in there. That would have been a tough decision, especially if we didn't make that, because we would have had to see what we wanted to do with the kicking game. But I think it was a great throw, great call, and you know, a good way to come away with the touchdown.
Well, Bryn Harvey was your go-to guy last night. 31 carries for a total of 111 yards. Evaluate his performance, would you please, quickly, and also because in your Tuesday press conference last week, you even said Bryn Harvey's probably not a 30-carry guy. He wound up with 31 carries. Was that by necessity last night?
Not really. I thought we probably kept him in 5, 6 plays too many myself, but you know, he kept, you know, we're check on the sideline, making sure he's ready to go and stuff, and he seemed to be fine. But you know, I think he should be 25 plays, you know, somewhere in that range a game, and then get more players on that field. I think that's what's important. I was disappointed that we didn't get more guys out there.
So that's a conscious effort that you have to make, and I'm assuming that that's something we'll see against Southern Miss next week.
I pretty much leave it up to the position coaches, but obviously I'm going to get more involved in substitution now.
Okay, we're going to take another break. When we come back, a very interesting feature. You're going to want to stick around for this. If you thought that game day at Bright House Network Stadium began when the football team ran onto the field for warm-ups, you are dead wrong. More on that when we come back on UCF Sports Today with George O'Leary.
The Knights Kids Club, presented by Chick-fil-A, is an exciting new club just for kids 8th grade and under. Call 407-823-6165 or log on to ucfathletics.com to join now.
This is my UCF.
McDuffie at the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, to the 40, looking for a block, 45, 50. McDuffie on the sideline, 40, 35, 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown, Quincy McDuffie!
George, no one's ever going to forget what Joe Burnett did for you with
Right.
all of the great returns that he had, but McDuffie, that was electrifying last night. The kid's just a freshman at Edgewater. And if you folks thought that, boy, this guy should have run track, well, he did at Edgewater High School. I think he was second in the nation in the 400 meters, and he ran the 200 meters as well. That kid can get up and go, George.
Really, a great job by the high school coach and the recommendation on him. And he was a fellow that we signed on signing day. All right, and so it was a good get, and we're very happy to have him.
You had a total of 289 return yards, and you have on this program before emphasized special teams, special teams, special teams, the importance of special teams. If fans could see you, they know that early practice, you are out there watching your kickers every day, every day, every day. And with regard to the return yards, it really paid off last night, didn't it?
It really did. I think there's the 3 phases: special teams, offense, and defense. And special team is one phase that you always have to win, in my opinion. And I think special teams, what is special, it's attitude, it's effort, and I think we're getting that done with the people on the field.
Okay, now having said that, let's talk about your kickers, because you talked about leaving points on the field, a couple of missed field goals and a missed extra point as well. That's something that you're going to have to address this week.
Well, we have to address it, and I have no question. I think the second game out, and you get out from under the lights a little bit, and I think we'll settle down at that position because everything indication during practice, great leg strength and everything else. And I thought both kickers, kickoff guy did a great job. Nick Catoy did a great job. We didn't kick some points after it, but I think Jamie has to just, get his feet underneath him and, get that first game out of his system.
All right, George, let's shift gears for just a little bit and talk about a game day at Bright House Network Stadium. You, of course, are busy getting your team ready for a game, and while you're doing that, there are other people getting ready for the game day itself. Take a look.
Each week, we have a game ops meeting that we bring everyone together, all the different units that help us put this on. And this isn't just an athletics function. I mean, it's obviously all hands on deck when it comes to athletics personnel, but we rely on so many additional people to help us with game day. And
the biggest hurdle we always have is weather, obviously. We're working with people to make sure that the timeline of events and making sure all of the moving parts work together to implement a fun and productive fanfare.
The main responsibility of the grounds crew is making sure our game field is ready.
On a typical game week, what it takes us to paint the field on Thursday afternoons, we use 8 guys, 8 hours a day.
And we have crews painting the field maybe at night, or maybe last year we had to paint at 3 in the morning because of weather issues. I mean, the clock is really not a boundary to us.
Preparing the locker room for a team on game day is just a lot of preparation behind the scenes. We go in and have to set up each locker for the athlete. So we put all their equipment out so they can come straight in and just go straight to their locker and get dressed. After that, we start preparing the outdoor part of the game, which is the field, the sideline. We have the headsets we have to get ready for the coaches. There's 8 on the sideline, there's 5 up in the press box we have to deal with. Bring the trunks out, the kicking net.
As an athletic trainer on game day, our main goal is to provide the best health care for all of our athletes and make sure that they're all safe before, during, and after the game. We go through about 13 cases of tape per game. Times that by 12 games in the season, we go through quite a bit of tape.
There's an awful lot not only on game day, but over the course of the entire week, logistically, that goes into accommodating a television broadcast both. The media can apply for credentials online. We've set up a website through a company called Sports Systems, which works extensively with athletic communications personnel around the country. Overall, I'd estimate we hand out on average, about 200 credentials per game, including media, radio, television.
UCF game day is quite a production. There are literally nearly 1,000 people that help us put on the operations for the game. The one thing that we can't forget, all of our staff, everyone has a role in this, is customer service. We want to make sure that our fans have the best game day experience possible.
That feature, George, is further proof that this program is not only informational, but it is educational. It is dizzying the number of elements that go into putting a game day on, and I know that you, perhaps more than anyone else, have a great appreciation for that.
Oh, I really do. I think the behind-the-scenes support people do an outstanding job here, and they take great pride and have a passion in making sure things go well. And I'm very proud of the fact, and they start, it's a week-long adventure as far as getting the game day, home game Saturday ready, and they do a great job.
And we could sit here talking about any tailgating controversy that may have unfolded during the summer. It's a moot point with regard to you. The point is the fans enjoy the day. And most of them, the great majority of them, are enjoying the day for all of the right reasons. And it was really great to see them out having a good time again last night.
It really was. Friday I was out and I ran into one fellow in his RV and said, "You want to go to breakfast?" He says, "Coach, I already ate."
Well, there you go. On that note, we're going to take another break. UCF has a Conference USA game coming up, just the second game of the season already. They're playing an important league game, and we'll preview that game when we come back on UCF Sports Today with George O'Leary, so stay right there.
Be sure to visit Buffalo Wild Wings in Waterford Lakes every Thursday night from 7 to 8 p.m. during the season to hear the George O'Leary Radio Call-In Show.
So in 1975, the United States ranked 3rd in the world in percentage. Must be the new guy. Guess you can say I was with you guys the whole time. New guy.
UCF and the Central Florida Research Park have helped create 41,000 jobs and contributed about $3.3 billion to the regional economy.
3, and that's only new girl.
So if it seems like your company's growing, it probably is. UCF stands for opportunity.
Fans, here are your Run for Ronald totals for the game. UCF had 286 yards of offense and 4 touchdowns for a total donation to the Ronald McDonald House of $686. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Okay, welcome back everybody to UCF Sports Today with George O'Leary. I'm Pat Clarke, the coach is here, getting set for your second game of the season. And it, George, is a conference game. You're going to Southern Miss this coming Saturday night. And in your entire tenure at UCF, you have never played a league game the second game of the season. How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, you'd like to have another game under your belt, but I think the way the conference gives the schedule out, in fact, some of the teams in the conference played a conference game the first one. So, I mean, that's really tough duty there. But I think we have a tough month of September. I think we have 2 conference teams we got to play, and both teams are teams that you have to win games with if you intend to be there at the end.
Southern Miss is notoriously a no-huddle offense team, so that's something you're going to have to work on this week. And while we're talking about the whole defense thing, give me your evaluation of how your defense played against Samford, specifically your secondary, which is effectively now.
Well, I think the secondary was fairly consistent during the game. I think they got caught looking in the backfield on a couple of plays there, but overall I was pleased with the substitution, pleased with their concepts as far as what they had for responsibility, and you know, they'll only continue to get better and better as the season goes on from an athletic standpoint.
You have long said that once you get into conference play, you would just as soon stay in conference play, but that's not the way it's going to be. You've got Southern Miss, then you'll come back for Buffalo the following week, then you go back out on the road to play another important, and they all are, Conference USA game at East Carolina. And then Miami coming here in October. Are you okay with that, or you don't have a whole lot of control over it?
You don't really have a lot of control over it. You have a control over usually the first 1 or 2. Your non-conference games are the ones you have control of, but then TV takes over if they want to pick them up for TV, so you really don't have much say in that.
Well, congratulations on your victory,
Thank you.
George, and good luck this week at Southern Miss. We hope that you folks make plans to join us for another edition of UCF Sports Today next Sunday at this same time with George O'Leary. So until then, for everyone at UCF and ISP, I'm Pat Clarke. So long, everybody.
UCF Sports Today with head coach George O'Leary has been brought to you by Holler Classic, the official automotive group of the UCF Knights. Today's show was also presented in part by Budweiser, the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Open up a world of taste. By the energy-saving conservation programs of Tico Peoples Gas. Syntex Homes. For a better way to a better home, visit syntex.com.